Welcome, Spartans, to Mission Debrief. We're playing every Halo mission in the mainline Halo video game series in chronological order and talking about our experiences with a little lore sprinkled in along the way. If you'd like to play along and have your thoughts read on the show, email us at podcastevolved@gmail.com or drop us a tweet at podcastevolve on Twitter. We will be talking about the Nightfall mission from Halo Reach on the next episode. However, this episode, we're debriefing the ONI sword-based mission from Halo Reach. I'm your host, Colin Perkins, alongside David Arnold.
Hello, everybody.
And KRYSTA Brown.
Shakaka. Someone wrote that, not me. Okay.
All right. On the last episode, we talked about Winter Contingency, where we met the new Noble Six and got our feet wet with a little exploration and a few firefights. We met some locals, discovered that the Covenant have invaded Reach, rescued some lady from a group of elite zealots, and found a data pad that might prove to be useful to a certain someone. Maybe we'll meet them this time. Next up, we're talking about ONI sword-based mission. KRYSTA, what's ONI? What is ONI?
Okay, ONI stands for the Office of Naval Intelligence. They are basically neutral. Sometimes they do cool things, and sometimes you're like, I don't know what you're doing. It's not great. It's basically like the secret organization. They kind of lurk in the shadows. They're always watching. When an ONI operative comes to you and says you have to do something, you do it. Or if they're coming to you angry, you're probably going to have to run. So they're kind of shady. They kind of do all the experimental things. They are what birthed the Spartan program and all the shady stuff that happened in that. So they move the story forward, but they also can be kind of an anti-hero in the series.
Mm-hmm. That's good explanation. They've always been, they've been kind of the good bad guys, the guys that get their hands dirty to do good stuff. But
they're like the boogeyman.
It's like they'll kill one person to save 100, or it's kind of that kind of mentality with them. Yeah. They'll kill some people off to save more people.
Right. Whereas more public-facing government agency won't do that sort of thing. So in this mission, we're dropped into the base courtyard, the ONI sword-based courtyard, to deflect the initial Covenant assault. After a little alien mop-up, we get to test Kat's driving skills, which we'll talk about. I have a fun story about that. And then we hop on the back of a I hopped on the back of the Warthog for a little turret fun while touring or going to turn on AA gun, anti-air gun, and activating a comm unit before heading back to the base to meet up with the rest of the squad. When we are back there, we meet some hunters at the front door and then team up with a few nice Marine boys that help us fight our way to the big hole in the roof. And then we have a nice little cutscene where we meet Mom. Who's Mom? Halsey.
Yes, more Halsey.
Mm-hmm. What did you guys think? All right, so real quick. So the date in this game is July 26th, 2552. That's 2 days after the last mission. And I think we joked about napping in the last one, so we took a 2-day nap, and now we're back to fighting.
We're like, oh god, the Covenant's here. I need to get my power nap in.
I need to charge up. Should we talk about Halsey right away? Should we start at the end?
Yeah, let's start at the end. Let's be edgy and weird.
So, Halsey is the through line for all of it. Halo, what doesn't happen if Halsey doesn't exist? And you meet her like a young version of her. She looks young, right? She's not.
She is young-ish, I guess. Only,
but she looks young in this game.
Middle-aged.
They portray her more as a younger than what I thought her to be from. I guess the other games.
Definitely compared to Halo 4.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you remember, a lot of stuff happened to Halsey to kind of induce stress and age her a little more between this Halo Reach and Halo 4. So.
That's true. Mm-hmm. So what else do you guys think about? Halsey, are you guys Halsey fans? Are you Halsey haters?
I've always been a Halsey fan.
Of course.
You have? Okay.
Yep. Always loved her.
And just think about
spoilers,
this real quick.
Remember, people might be playing with this, so let's talk about this Halsey, current state Halsey.
Cool.
Well, just think about this real quick. This is the first time in a Halo game we've seen Halsey.
That's also crazy.
she hasn't been
That's true.
talked about until this game, and she's such a pivotal person in the Halo universe.
Like, if you've played this game, or only the games, up to this point, and now you're playing
do
Reach,
not
which
know
you know
who
is the
she is.
prequel to Halo CE, and you know that going in, and all you really know about Halsey is how George speaks of her in the end cutscene, and then their brief interactions. I mean, there's nothing in the games talking about.
In like
Halsey.
the yearly
first
release
three.
games, like right, yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
If you're
Yeah.
playing the games
Yeah.
as they're released, you're not getting to Reach until later, and then all of a sudden you're meeting Halsey. And
Exactly.
you're like, who is this Halsey person?
Why is she a big deal? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I know they released Halsey's journal with this game, which we've talked about already, and it's
which
amazing.
is a beautiful,
like-
beautiful piece of lore.
Having that going into the game was probably an awesome way to kind of maybe catch people up a little bit on who Halsey was. But I think even before the game was coming up, everyone was heavily saying, "Oh, read the book," which of course caused all sorts of things, which we talked about in the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
But I've always loved Halsey's character, and I just think it is so strange in how she's been portrayed only in this game, Bungie's last one, and only kind of briefly enough. And I guess we just get a little bit of touch upon her kind of character in this game in terms of how she just sees herself as above everyone and everything. Spartans, ONI, military, doesn't matter. She's just over them all, and George is definitely very differential towards her, and just she's totally dismissive of the lot of them.
Well,
So-
George is also working with Spartans made by her rival,
Oh yeah,
which is why she's not very welcoming to them.
yeah, that's maybe like spoilery in from like the Halsey journals. I want to say that's discussed, but like she's very much anti Spartan-3s and 4s. You know, she's not happy about that project being taken away. Like, I think the trees were kind of like done in secret, or then like all her like research was stolen, and a whole bunch of like other bad stuff happened.
Yeah, so when we
But
meet
anyway.
her, like he's saying "mom," so it's like raising an eyebrow. You're like, what? Who? You know, like, why is he calling her mom? And he's the only one that seems to have that affinity, I guess, or that point of reference for her. So
Yeah. Well, I took it as being he called her mum, or kind of almost
It's
like a man.
MA'AM.
Yeah, it's kind of like
oh, is it
over
ma'am
he.
or is it
Yeah,
It's not
it's
ma'am.
ki-
It's still pronounced mom, but it's kind of more of the ma'am.
It's the pronunciation of it. You would get that over here very much in the English. I'm going to say
It's a more European thing than an
military
American
kind
thing.
of services. Yeah, it's just a way of pronouncing kind of less than like yes, ma'am, but it's very much used in the English kind of like the way United Kingdom would use that in their like armed services and stuff like that. You would hear them refer to a superior female in this kind of manner. It's not like mom as in like mommy. It is like ma'am as in like a
right.
superior officer, as it were.
Yeah.
Being
Superior
an
female,
American game,
specific.
it definitely confuses a lot of people.
I never thought about that until I've seen it written down here in front of me. And I was like, what did he doesn't say that? And then straight away I was like, oh, I know where this came from. But that's funny.
So the Halsey thread will continue to unravel during this game. So why don't we let's talk about the mission. So the first firefight, I felt like when you're dropped in, like that was a rough fight right away, especially if you're playing on a more difficult level.
Oh yeah.
You're
it's a tough intro.
You're thrown into it. And there's a lot of Covenant, there's a lot of grunts, there's a lot of elites.
And not a
it's
lot
not
of
easy.
ammunition.
Right.
No.
Yep, you're having to explore. You're having to, more so than in the first mission, you're having to drop weapons, pick up the Covenant weapons, starting to explore those additional what do you call it, ordnance, I guess. And you have to. It's a long fight if you're playing on a harder level. What did you guys? What did you guys use mostly through this? I mean, I always lean to my UNSC weapons right away, and then start picking up like a needler and until I find something better.
I'm almost always UNSC weapons in Halo games. With a few rare exceptions. This mission, because I haven't played it in so long, and we'll kind of touch on it later on, I tried to keep the target designator for the whole mission, which I did, and I think on normal it's actually it regenerates ammo somehow. I couldn't figure out how.
I dropped it right away. I just used it on those
The
what are they
race.
called? Yeah, the race. And then
The
I
race
was
at
like,
the
all right,
start, yeah.
that's done.
So I managed to kill both those wraiths with one shot.
Whoa.
Did you get the
like,
achievement?
I did it years ago, but like
That's
I
a
was like,
pain
okay,
in the ass achievement, by the way. Holy shit! I got so mad at the game when I was trying to get that achievement.
it was tough, but like I don't know, I just did it today. I was like, I'm gonna try and do this. So I kept the one shot, and I was like, I'm gonna use this later on in the mission where I in a place I normally wouldn't, simply because I had an extra shot. I was only playing on normal, but like pretty much when I got to my next encounter, I noticed I have 2 shots again. I don't know how I did that. And it happened twice through this game where I fired off one shot and then kept it for a later point in the game, took it back out, open again, and I had another 2 shots. I was like, this is very strange. So it must be something that happens on normal, or it must be something I was doing when I was picking up ammo elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it has its own ammunition somehow on the ground and I just didn't realize I was picking it up. I don't know.
Yeah, good question.
It was weird.
I don't
But
know. I liked the gun. It was a cool effect, but it's no Hammer of Dawn. Like like Hammer of Dawn. Come on,
it's cool. It's short and brief, and I think this is the only mission in the game that has it.
Yeah, it's
That's
like
the
they
first
show
time
you
it's ever
this.
been in the
You
game.
get 2 shots. You're supposed to use it on both of the wraiths, and then it's never talked about ever again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is just so strange.
Yep, that happens a lot in this game.
I mean, it is interesting. I used it on a Phantom earlier in the mission. I thought it was kind of cool. I'd never done that before. So it's totally destroyed a Phantom with that.
We're introduced to a lot of new weapons in this game because I picked up a shotgun.
Yeah.
And I was having some shotgun fun towards the end.
Oh yeah, the sniper rifles on this game. That's pretty fun. On this game, sorry, in this mission.
Yep, sniper.
That's kind of cool.
And then the rocket launcher at the end.
Yeah, and also I think this is the first one with the concussion rifle in it. If you were playing on, I think it is on the first mission if you're on higher difficulties.
Yeah, it is. The thing about Halo Reach is that a lot of the missions get better with higher difficulties, and I think this is one of them that gets a lot better the higher difficulties.
Yep.
Because on normal it's okay, but once you start going from normal to heroic and legendary, it's the elites get upgraded and a bunch of more enemies come at you. They have different weapons. Yeah. So it gets a little more interesting.
Yeah, I have that in my notes. I was taking notes as I played this mission, and like one of the last things I wrote down was wishing I played on heroic for more of a challenge, because it does feel like you feel a little too OP, and it's not. You can easily just kind of run around and just take everybody out.
Especially if you know the game and you know where all the weapons are, it's a little too easy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It can be, especially when you get the Gauss Hog in this mission. Which is the only mission in this game with the Gauss Hog in it. And it's awesome.
Yeah, the Gauss Hog. So if you guys don't know what the Gauss Hog is specifically, it's so you get the other Warthog. You get the initial Warthog with the turret in the back. The other one you get with that sweet-ass laser gun thing.
Isn't it a Mac?
Hog.
Yeah, it's a magnet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing's fun to mess around with.
It's awesome.
Oh, and that leads us into cat driving.
Oh
yeah. Is this the only cat driving sequence that people complain about?
Yeah. Well, I think this is the only mission where you can, because Kat's the only person that can drive with you because she's the only one with you through a lot of this.
No, the Marine. So when I got to the driving part, the Marine was driving originally.
Oh,
and
really?
Kat was shotgun and I was on the turret. And then at some point she took over the wheel.
And that's when things
I think you can make her drive in the other mission that starts with you. We'll get to it later. But when you go over the bridge and you start with the grenade launcher, and she's with you then, I think she can drive the Warthog in that mission.
Yeah. I don't know. Usually in this mission, I stick to the single vehicles, the Covenant vehicles, just because I don't even want to try to gun with an AI.
On harder difficulties, I always do that too.
Yeah.
It's a Ghost or Ghost all the way.
Great segue to the new vehicle.
Yeah.
We talking about Revenant,
favorite.
Right?
Yeah.
The Revenant.
Mm-hmm.
That's so cool, beautiful.
Yeah, if you've played the other Halo games, you're also like, what is this? To me, it looked like a souped-up Ghost. I kind of did some research on it today. I was like, ooh, this is just a fancy, like, decked-out version of the Ghost.
It's like, I started from the opposite direction. I went, it's like a mini Wraith. It's like where the Ghost and a Wraith meet in the middle. Because it has like that mortar type of shot where like it lobs a large shot.
Mm-hmm.
And like there's a slot for a second person in it, right? And they just hang off the side.
Yeah, they can
wanna
just
say.
shoot from the passenger seat.
Yeah.
I always
Nobody
take the
wants to
Wraith
do that.
in this mission, though.
The Wraith.
Oh yeah, I didn't mess with the Wraith. I just
No, me neither.
I just kind of took everything out. I just stuck with the UNSC. I just stuck with the Warthogs. Let Cat drive. Oh, sorry. Back to Cat driving. Did you guys die at all in this mission?
I did from a Wraith because I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. I forgot that I had armor lock.
Guess who killed
Yeah.
me?
Cat,
Yep.
right off a
Only
cliff?
death. No, she
Driving?
drove over me. I was
Oh,
I was
nice.
at the comm unit, and I was there's at the point where you kind of go, you're down below, and then you pop up to kind of run up to the side, and there's elite, some grunts up top. They're throwing grenades at you, and so I was in that firefight, and all of a sudden she just comes out of nowhere and runs over me. Like,
Good
oh,
old Cat.
wah,
Still
wah.
at it.
Mm-hmm.
Still in her, like, dopey ways.
Yep. Yeah, she that is a rough if you're just riding in the turret the entire time. At some point, she's smart about it. Where did you guys take out the Phantom? So when you first get up to the AA gun, like before you get there, you can see the Phantom hovering up above. And I took out the Warthog stopped at a distance and allowed me just to take out that Phantom. Do you remember that? Playing that part?
Yes.
Yes.
So I took that out, and because they stopped there, and then as soon as I took it out, then they kept going to the AA gun. Like, okay, cool, let's do that, and then chaos ensued from there.
Of course. That's the best part of this
That's
mission.
pretty cool.
Right.
And I do love. I always thought it was weird that you get like a choice at the start of the mission, kind of. Do you want to go left or do you want to go right? The
Mhm.
comm station or the gun turret? And I always thought it was funny that Cat agrees with your choice no matter what you choose. So if you go to comms, she goes, "Oh yes, great idea. We get the comms first." But if you like restart the mission or play the mission again and go to the gun, he's like, "Yes, definitely. Let's get the gun up and running first." So I always thought that was fun.
God damn it, Cat. No mind of
They're
her
all
own.
lined up. Yeah.
The interesting thing, like they kind of play like the mission feels bigger than it actually is. The first time I played it, I didn't really know anything about the lore. Sometimes it's hard to pay attention to like the story while you're playing it. So like you hear the voices in the background, but you don't, not until you play it again, you don't actually know what's going on. So I remember playing this mission for the first time, and it felt like a huge thing, and I didn't realize that you just kind of went back to the same spot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You go all the way around, then you go to the same. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
You do some chores and then you come home.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty much.
And then when you come home, you meet. There's a lot of new stuff. Then you meet some hunters.
Yeah, the Hunter's Return.
It's the hunters where you can actually stick their shields with sticky grenades.
Oh, I
Can
didn't
you?
realize that. Like,
Yes.
Like hop on the back of them, or just throw a plasma grenade at them.
You can throw plasma grenades just on their shields, because in a lot of the other, like Halo 4 and 5, it just like deflects off of them
Bounces
now.
off, yeah. I think they even have an animation to do that.
Yeah, but now they just sit there because they're big dum-dums.
Also, what I did today, and I didn't know you could do it, like, they're super easy to kill on normal, as it would be as a super combine. So, like, when I got, like, the needle rifle, if you just shoot them in the back, like, 3 times, it'll, if you super con them 3 times, so that's about 9 shots, they die. So that's all it took. So I'm like, that's really easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sniper rifle is what I used for them. It was pretty easy. Again, we know what we're doing. We played all these games before, but if you're meeting those the first time and just trying to like fire at their face, not that
Not
easy.
gonna work. You gotta
Yeah.
do the shotgun strafe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's the way to go. The other one of our Facebook members, Chris, as you probably know him if you're part of the group or listened to these before, he pointed out that you can ride in the there's a couple
Forklift.
the
Like
forklift.
a little forklift, little trolley
There was a
cart
wagon
thingy.
that you meet before, like right when you drop in to the courtyard. There's a vehicle in there, and I missed that one. But then I found the courtyard, the forklift right before the hunters, or right after the hunters, I guess. Lots of drivable. There's so many things in this mission. It's crazy.
I just
it's
I just love getting in the forklift and then immediately dying. It's my favorite thing.
Yeah, that's what happened to me. I just got a plasma grenade right to the forklift. What else? So from here, then essentially, I picked up that shotgun and was having some fun with that. The shotgun, it's kind of an underpowered shotgun, I feel like, from other games, but it still works. On normal, it's fine.
It's good, but its range is like severely affected.
Yeah, that's
it's not like Halo
good.
CE where it's like across the room, you'll just die.
You mean like the perfect shotgun in any game ever. Oh, it's beautiful.
And then you start fighting up to the roof, and you meet up with... So did you get partnered with Tiny and Stam, too? Did you guys take note of their names?
No, all of the
I
names change.
did look for them.
And some of them are like... Some of them I know are the Rooster Teeth guys. Some of them are employees. It changes every time.
I remember watching a documentary on Reach when they were talking about their fire teams, and it was always really interesting where it's always like Bungie employees or just people they know and friends, like the Rooster Teeth people.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get like Bernie and Gus and stuff like that, and other actors and voice actors in the game will be named as themselves as a fire team. So I did kind of like that mechanic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm forgetting
like,
if it happens again.
No, it's just a mechanic that they're like, oh, you can recruit people, and then they're like, we're going to just throw that away for the rest of the game.
Yeah, well, I think you can do it in other places in the game and get a fire team going.
You just walk up to them, that's all you do, right? And then they just join
Pretty
you.
much.
Like, I don't remember pushing a button or anything.
No, you don't. They just join on you and they'll follow you for a short time.
Until they die.
Yep.
Until they die, pretty much.
Yeah, both of my boys, they died on the way up. They did not make it.
They usually don't.
I'm sure they shot some bad guys. So, anything else from this mission before we start reading some? I guess what are your overall thoughts on the mission?
Amazing cutscenes.
Good cutscenes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really liked it. I mean, it really did set the tone. Like introducing, I know we kind of skipped over because he went kind of backwards, but like with the first cutscene where it shows you brought in on the Falcons. Which you'd think it would be right after the first mission, but it isn't because it's 2 days. So
right.
I don't know if it took them 2 days to fly back or what. Or
they were taking power naps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe. But you get introduced to Dot, or Ant Dot, I think it's Anti-Dot.
Is that the AI?
This is the AI.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's an ONI AI. I'm not sure if she's a smart AI, KRYSTA.
No, she's not.
She's very
She doesn't
formal.
sound like it, yeah.
No, she's a dumb AI.
So she may be just a dumb AI. So she's featured a little bit throughout Halo Reach. So she's very uninteresting. Very
She's
much
also
because
a
she's
firefight
probably
voice.
smart. Oh yeah, true. Simply because she's a dumb AI, which I kind of figured. But she's not very interesting. Isn't like a real character in any way. And I suppose that's maybe just to show a contrast between the difference between Cortana, which will come way later.
Well, at this point in the series, there hasn't really been smart AIs.
Oh, there totally has been.
Not as many. They're not as common as they are in like the Halo 4 era.
No, probably not. But again, it's not like Cortana was the first of many. She is truly unique in her creation. And in terms of like, there was just, I guess smart AIs are expensive.
Oh yeah.
Like very expensive. But when you think about like how many ships all have smart AIs on them, like they all did as well.
Well, not every ship has a smart AI.
But the big ones would.
Yeah, most of the big ones.
Like I would expect one on Reach for sure, given the size and importance of that planet.
Isn't this is going a little off topic, but the AI that taught the Spartans was a smart AI.
Yeah,
and she's on Reach.
Deja.
Where
is she, KRYSTA? But that's probably way after her 7-year life cycle.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that's
if
true.
we check those dates, I'm sure she's long gone. But anyway.
The one thing I missed is that, just kind of as we ran through the mission, the very top, you meet some, what are they called? The cloaking ones? The elites?
Spec Ops.
Oh, yeah, Spec Ops.
Spec Ops, yeah. Those invisible bad guys.
Yeah, it was a cool ending to the
Invisiboys.
mission. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like the kind of using the rocket launchers to take down the Banshees. And you get that kind of really cool kind of cutscene of the longswords.
Yeah.
Almost kind of, I'm not sure what they were doing, but like chasing after the ship.
I think they were targeting
it,
right?
That's what I thought too. That maybe they were laser designating it, and then the orbital kind of shot comes down and just totally decimates it.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah,
It
it's
feels
badass.
really powerful when you see that. It's like
It
it just
does.
moves the entire ship and just puts a hole through it.
Yeah, it's so sad. Those are like rare moments of seeing humanity kind of
Win.
win.
Yeah.
It's kind of like really satisfying, and I like, even if though it's like a small victory, it felt damn badass.
So
And,
good cutscenes. KRYSTA, did you
Yeah.
like the mission?
The mission's not the best. It does get better as the difficulty scales up, but it's just an okay mission for me.
Why is it just okay? We told you all the good things. Like, there's so much
Yeah,
new
KRYSTA.
stuff. There's so much. There's like hunters to fight. There's cool cutscenes.
But there's way better missions.
Yeah, that's true. Comparatively, sure. I could see that.
This is kind of
And,
just
like,
a mission
all
that's like,
Halo
these are
games.
some of the things that you might see later.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, it's still a little bit of an intro mission. Do you know what I mean? It's throwing new enemies at you, new vehicles, new weapons.
Yeah, it's
And
like
new
your
kind of
first
environments.
non-tutorial mission. So they're throwing a lot at
Yeah.
you.
I liked it. I liked it a lot. Yeah, I really liked the fact that it's our first time seeing like an ONI facility in the game. So I thought that was kind of cool. I really like enjoyed seeing ONI, what they're like.
It'd be interesting
they
to
build
hear
things.
someone that is playing this series for the first time, that is playing, in chronological order, to hear what they think about it. It's impossible for us to go back and kind of have that insight, but it would
God,
be
if they
like,
played in release game order.
well, no, I'm saying if you're
In
coming to the Halo
chronological
now,
order.
Oh
and you're like,
wow!
okay, I'm gonna
if
play
you
Halo
sat down on
Reach.
Halo Reach as your first Halo game,
Yeah,
and
It'd be
you would
interesting.
have no clue what was going on.
Right.
You would have no clue.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no way you'd enjoy it. I can't think of a
The
way.
combat, you'd
Oh,
enjoy
I
the
think
combat,
you'd
but the
enjoy
story,
it, yeah.
Yeah.
you'd have to play it a couple times probably, or do a lot of research to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, big time.
That's why we're
What
here.
did you think, Colin? Did you like the mission?
That's why we're here. I enjoyed it. I think I already said I wish I played it on a harder difficulty, and I may start playing on heroic now, just for a little bit more of a challenge. The mission felt kind of thin, because I think just because the firefights are short for the most part. Like, there's the initial big one, and then you kind of drive around, but those fights are kind of small, and then you get it back into the base, and it's not really that difficult to climb up the stairs and take everybody out. So we'll see if I bump up the difficulty or not from here, just to make the levels feel more robust. I thought it was good. I thought I enjoyed everything that I did. But I also like the challenge of Halo. I usually play on heroic, so I might bump it up from here. We'll see.
Cool.
All right, why don't we read some community thoughts and get out of here?
Okie dokie.
David, do you want to start? And since you got the short Facebook list, and then Twitter, Chris can do Twitter.
Very quick, and you pretty much did it already. So it was just Chris kind of chimed in to remind us of the vehicles that we can drive, and he kind of loves it. He loved our little kind of trolley. He likes driving weird vehicles, and Chris, he tries to break these games. Tries to find
does.
things.
Stop breaking the game, Chris.
I know.
Stop it.
Matthew Lunt also chimed in once again, so thank you, Matt, for your input. He gameplay-wise, he thought it was a fun level. He loved the intro of one of the best one-game wonder weapon target locator. I agree, it's no Hammer of Dawn, which is kind of way cooler.
That's Gears of War reference for those of you.
Yeah. The encounters are a great variety of Covenant enemies. I agree completely. Level design is alright. It's not the most visually appealing map. The natural landscape is a mix of ice and dead features, but the amount of brown is eh. Sword base itself is better designed level. The interior of sword base is nice. Lore-wise, excellent level. The introduction of Halsey is excellent. I agree. Her dialogue shows her superiority complex while showing the difference in how she interacts with Spartan-3s as opposed to Spartan-2s. Oh my god, this feels like I've already said all this. And vice versa. I like this guy, man. He's a good guy.
He knows what he's
got a good
talking
brain.
about.
He does. Getting more lore and Covenant infiltration strategy, sending in specialist units before invading a colony. Yeah, I did love that. That's an excellent point. Where Halsey kind of talks about like the Zealot class teams that they send in. So again, kind of further explaining why there's only one or two ships, and in fact it takes them 2 days to attack ONI's base. So because there's so few units there, and they were only there because they didn't think it was such a huge planet, which we know now.
Well, they were looking for Forerunner artifacts.
Yes.
We find this out
And
later.
They found a bunch of ONI research data specific to Forerunner. Or what did she say? Halsey said it was the abundance of ONI data or something
Yeah, just
specific to that location.
yeah.
I can't
She
remember
just
what
said
wording
something
she has.
general.
Yeah, I don't think she said Forerunner, but she definitely said ONI data. So anyway, she assumed that's what they were after, and we can assume the same. So that's kind of it, really, for our community. Just those two guys' inputs.
Jogged my memory on two things I just wanted to point out. I did like how the mission, as a whole, like that comm station you go to, it's just kind of a rickety old slapped together place.
Oh yeah.
It kind of puts in perspective, like this is a, we're far in the future and we're advanced, but this is a colony. So this very important comm unit next to ONI Sword Base, it's just kind of there. It's not really done well. It's just, a bunch of wood put up. So it feels like a colony. It feels like they're just building that up still, even though, they've been there for a while.
I wonder if, because Reach is always described as being one of the most heavily developed planets,
right,
in terms of the inner colony.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if ONI Sword Base is supposed to be a semi-secret facility.
Sure. And
maybe
rural,
just
right.
That like rickety looking comm relay is kind of like camouflage, maybe.
That could be. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm just spitballing here.
That sounds pretty good.
The other thing that I did like, speaking about Halsey, that interaction, is where Carter kind of gave it back to her. She was talking about putting Kat in the brig for holding onto that data pad, and then he kind of gives it back to her. What does he say? I think I wrote it down here.
You can join her.
You can join her. The civilians interfering with Spartan deployment.
Yep.
There are whatever.
And then he says we're under winter contingency, and you're being a bitch.
He calls it, but he calls it. She's like, "Are you threatening me?" He's like, "No, I'm just suggested reading."
Suggested reading, yeah.
Yeah, that was good. All right, what about from Twitter?
All right, from Twitter's, we got a response from Bad at Halo Show, friends of the show. Hi, guys. They say, great mission. Choose which objective you want to tackle first. Vehicle and power weapons galore. White armored Bob. Good job, Bob. There are 2 Bobs in this mission that you can find. Fighting at the top of Sword Base and blowing up the Banshees, a Phantom, and watching the Reach S-Mac and a Corvette from the sky. And that's how we get it done, Spartans. So there are 2 Bobs. I think they spawn. I think you can only get 1 per mission, but I remember one of them being like the Golden General, like elite armor, but it's white and blue instead of yellow and red. And then the other one is the Spec Ops armor, but it's white. So there are the Bobs for you. I am your professional Bob connoisseur. I've killed many a Bob. The actual Warden Eternal has decided to come out of his long slumber and tell us what he thought about this Halo Reach mission. He says, just playing through this mission again before posting, and man, I remember it being much longer. It's such a short mission. The 2 areas were used for firefight, and the inside of Sword Base for multiplayer. Cutscenes were the best thing about this level. Everything else was just okay. Yeah, that's kind of my sentiments as well.
I wonder what difficulty he was on.
It was probably normal. Yeah, because Bad at Halo Show told him to play it on Legendary.
Oh, no.
We got at Trekspert. Oh, at Trekspert. It's funny. Okay.
Nail it.
One of the top replays. Still don't know what happened to Sarah and what Laszlo's latchkey discovery was, which Unicraken says
that's in the book.
Yeah. But the latchkey discovery Unicraken says is the location of Maithrillian, which is very, very lore heavy. If you want to know what the hell Maithrillian is, go watch her latest episode. I think it's like 157.
Is that official, KRYSTA, of what that is? Because I thought the latchkey was something slightly different.
Okay, I'm gonna explain this as fast as I can. If you remember in that episode.
Nope. Do it.
If you remember in the lore in the last episode, it was an elite looking for the location of Maithrillian. He ends up on Reach. He's the only Covenant cruiser on Reach. He sends out zealot teams to find the Forerunner artifacts pertaining to that.
I recall.
Yeah.
But I didn't, for some reason, I had thought that what the latchkey was described in Halsey's journal. And I didn't think it was anything to do with a location. I thought it was something that helped her to translate Forerunner
tech.
Something. and it had something to do with the creation of Cortana. I'm not sure, but I thought there was something else going on.
But do you think another scientist would be involved in that? That sounds like a very Halsey only.
Absolutely not. Now that you've pointed it out to me, but I guess there's definitely more than one scientist looking into Forerunner tech and Forerunner artifacts.
Well, she was one of Halsey's, which is why she wanted to know that data, where that data was so badly.
True.
Anyway, moving on.
Yep.
Fly on 18 says, I personally don't like this mission. I like the way of tackling the option to choose what you'd like to do first, but in my opinion, it didn't work out well. In the sword base, the fights were awesome, and the ending with blowing up the Corvette is just awesome. My opinion, though. So that's Fly Guy. No one likes this mission on Twitter, apparently. And then finally, Unicraken gives he says that the sword base is a great mission. The opening is just fantastic with the fly through and the imposing look of the SDV class Corvette overhead. The culmination of the mission being getting to one of the Reach's famous S-Max and bringing it down, and then meeting up with Halsey for a cup of sass.
Yeah.
Well put.
Very well put. So that's all from the Twitter correspondence. Back to you, Colin.
Well, that'll do it for the show, guys. No, that was fun. This continues to be a great series, so I think we're gonna have fun with this. And you got a little insight into like the brilliant Halo mind conversations that happen between KRYSTA and David.
Oh yeah,
you're welcome.
Totally brilliant.
Yeah, we're geniuses when it comes to Halo. Our heads are just so full of Halo knowledge.
We're G9.
We're jobless. We can't actually learn anything else. Please help.
All right, that will do it for the debriefing Halo Reach's ONI sword-based mission. On the next episode, we will be covering Halo Reach Nightfall. Nightfall. Send us your thoughts, podcastevolve@gmail.com, or drop a tweet at podcastevolve, and we will see you next time. Evolve.
Awesome.